Thank you. Before I can present all the facts to you, picture this. You are with your children in this very beautiful chocolate shop with all kinds of specialties. And you ask them, please fill up this basket with all bars you find appealing. What do you think will happen? Well, I can assure you this is a great experiment to do. And it is exactly what I have done on a rainy Saturday when my team was working late on a project for one of you. Amazing what they choose so differently. Jorre, my son, he selects based on the wrappings, silver and blue. My son Finn, he simply likes white chocolate and takes all of it. And 3-year-old Hidde takes the largest bars he can find. But their eyes all sparkle in the very same way, thinking of this little moment of happiness that they can eat the bar they could select for themselves. Well, I'll tell you this story because consumer markets change rapidly and the youth has the future. And we've also seen in our research that large companies are forced to adapt quickly to all the different trends in the different countries, as just already highlighted by Jack. I have worked at KPMG with some of the largest confectioneries around the world, mostly on sustainable supply chains. And in due course, I became myself a chocolate lover, as many of you. So therefore, I'm excited that I can speak now on consumer preferences, and I will take you through the trends very quickly to look at where, when, why, and what are these moments of happiness that we all have from eating chocolate. I'm going to wrap up the world map quickly. There's 8 countries that are responsible for majority of the growth. And we're not going to go country by country, but I would like to pick out the opportunities in India and China. If we look at China, with a per capita consumption 1/10 of that of Switzerland, as just highlighted as the highest consuming country, we can only dream of all the opportunities. But all these countries have different drivers. So what would your strategy be in Russia, knowing that the market preferences shift from really luxury and bling bling to more natural? What alliances and what partnerships would you choose in India, where the market potentially is huge? But there are 3 constraints. That is low income, extreme heat, and difficulties in getting access to all areas through poor retail infrastructure. And what will be the opportunity in China? How are you going to reach 340 million middle-class consumers? As you look at the average, it might be a little bit low of income and it takes several minutes to purchase chocolate. But this middle class will take less minutes than we've just have seen. I'm not going to go into all the differences. You can take a look at the research, and I will leave you a taste of the future where we have shown many more examples of how markets are driven in the different countries. But we think companies need to be extremely agile to make these different strategies in all these countries. And then on a totally different question. When is the last time you have bought chocolate for a special occasion? As you all know, special occasions already amount for a large proportion of the chocolate market. And there's still plenty of opportunity with creative products and marketing to leverage more of these moments. But think of this. In Brazil, already 80 to 100 million Easter eggs are sold. What is the limit? Can this go up to maybe 200 million? But the potential perhaps is not in markets that are already known for chocolate and special events. Maybe it's the unknown markets and the unknown events that have a real potential to boost your sales. There are many great examples. If we think of the comparison between the US and the UK, in the US only at 10% of sharing occasions chocolate is used. In the UK this is already 46%. So think of all these events that the US have that still needs a lot of chocolate to share. The NFL, the Super Bowl, and Mars stepped into that and have a program to target all these events. And what will be the events that you will be targeting next year that we don't know of yet? If we would look at the Indian market, with the hypermarket chain called Spencer's Retail, they report a 40% growth of sales during the Hindu festival of Diwali, with more and more people buying candy instead of jewelry due to affordability. So that's another way of looking at affordability. So please think of all different occasions that you can still market to. So back to the story with my kids in this shop. The basket is almost full. And then something surprisingly happens. I thought the crew in the shop would encourage me, tell about these extremely exclusive flavors, and of course about beautiful origins. But they stopped me. And the lady kindly asked me, "Would you please stop? The children are not allowed to touch the chocolate here." So apparently, professionals have an opinion on who would be a luxury seeker or in another segment. And this is one of the big challenges, how to identify these segments and how to cater to people that may have a special reason to buy something. We have identified in our research 3 different segments of consumers: the value consumer, luxury seeker, and the hybrid. The value consumer is still by far worldwide the largest segment, and they look for low prices, small portions. For instance, in India, the average confectionery flexible package is 5 grams, with an average 99% smaller than 50 grams, so small packages. But what about the luxury seekers? Where do we find them? This is the fast growing market in US, Asia Pacific, Middle East, and Oceania. So this is a really growing area. And how about the hybrid consumers? Who of you knows which consumer you are, but the hybrid consumer is also many of us. A lot of people are looking for low prices in their groceries, but still finding these moments of happiness to buy something that's a real treat, like chocolate. The majority of this segment is women. But from 2020 onwards, bear you, this will be run by millennials, so people that have born in this century. And they choose so differently. They will look at celebrities. They will look at really discounts. So the trend on discounts we have seen before might even increase. And the other thing they will follow is social media. So also the campaigns and type of products we enter into the market might change rapidly. 73% of you already know that dark chocolate is far more healthy. So why is milk still the dominant flavor? And how will these charts look like in 10 years? With obesity levels steadily rising and the UN estimating 1.4 billion of people being obese, and 350 million suffer from diabetes. Chocolate will be different in 10 years. It will contain healthy fats, high levels of flavonols, and that will be the norm. Dark chocolate might be the response to health wishes here in the Western world. In China, it simply addresses a different taste, the taste that is less sweet. Already 34% of that market is dark chocolate, making it the single biggest market in the world. So the trend is universal, but the drivers, as with many things, are different per country, and the pace will differ also per country. There's no easy answer on where to steer your product innovation and marketing. There are many circumstances to take into account. Imagine this: 8 high growth countries, 3 consumer segments, and let's say 3 chocolate eating occasions. Already more than 70 different consumer situations to cater for. And with selectionists, a market segment, already 30% in US, that really wants to buy special products with healthy margins. New varieties, health, sustainability, and innovative marketing will set the trend in the next decade. Smaller companies have shown by far more efficient adaptation to this situation. They may cater to very small segments with high margins. And these agile micro competitors might be very interesting for the world's largest players. They might acquire these companies, cooperate with them, or even imitate them to find out how to cater all the different trends and keep increasing volumes. So look next to you and think, who is going to facilitate your growth? Let me give some other great examples of trends. The variety of flavors will increase over time. There are really special flavors, even like in the wine business, nostalgia or products or liquors included, dried nuts, everything that you can imagine will be in chocolate for the next years. And might be presented as small segments, but we see them growing and growing. The examples you can see in our report. The other big trend is caramel, or also called the 4th flavor of chocolate after dark, milk, and white. It's the second flavor after hazelnuts that's included in chocolate. We see, for instance, that Cargill heavily invests in this trend. And of course, going for bit-sized portion for the value consumer is one of the great challenges for the next decade. And how many consumers in the heat of India would be interested in, let's say, Mondelez's new invention of chocolate that doesn't melt? Other examples of cool marketing could be personalized M&Ms that are on the market. Chocolate filled with toys, pencils filled with chocolates, and promoting your chocolate with terms like, and here I have to look at the paper, bright, fruity, floral, earthy, and nutty for pure chocolates, just to enhance the feeling of this is something special. And in the Middle East, personalizing your products is key. Put your name on, put your logo on, and perhaps even 3D printing is the absolute next thing. There's already a chocolatier in Doha that is really renowned for his special products called Chocolate Theater. But at the same time, we see the trend for more sustainable and more health in chocolate. On health, product innovations can replace cocoa butter with more healthy fats, natural oils, and stevia already in a lot of introductions can be introduced at scale, reducing 80 to 90% the amount of sugar, making it maybe less calories, up to 30% less. And then all the additions that we can put in chocolate to make it more healthy, with fiber, protein, micronutrients, even energy givers, and that will sound like lemon ginger immunity chocolate or weight loss mandarin orange dark chocolate. It's like poetry, but I didn't make it up, it already exists. And who isn't interested in those type of products? The last trend to highlight here is the increasing importance of origins and sustainability beyond certification. Single origin, fine flavored cocoa gives an exclusive cachet to appeal connoisseurs. And in order to make unique sustainability claims, one needs to know where the cocoa used comes from and who grows it. As many large companies have set 2020 targets on sustainable, often certified, certification will not be enough to stand out as a sustainable company. So who of you have already included all these trends in your strategy? Perhaps it's worthwhile to look at a very small example from the Netherlands, a brand called Tony Chocolonely. That is one of these, let's say, agile companies, 20 people, million bars. They started off as a niche company, high sustainability profiles, but now, with all these cool flavors, caramel and many others, some of these flavors are even unique, and maybe that's the trend, to certain retailers. And the others, they feel sorry that they don't have that specific flavor because it runs really well. And they also understood the trend of going from these large bars to smaller bars and something they call tiny Tony tablets to cater for these different portions. A similar thing we have seen last week, confectionery news, with the really meteoric rise of a brand called Bark Thins. It's dark chocolate in different shapes with all kind of fair trade ingredients and covered in nuts and dried fruit. And it went sky high in a couple of years. So we'll probably see many more of these examples. So let's go back to the shop with my children. But now 1 year later, what has changed? What has changed is that they all choose so differently. And why? They have chosen differently simply because there were new introductions, and of course of the stories on television, but also the stories I tell them as a father and as a professional. What will be in the shop next year? What will they choose? That's up to you. I wish you all great inspiration in designing, producing and marketing beautiful chocolate products for those little moments of happiness around the world. Thank you.